You should have told me that I haven't shared the screen. I was talking to reference of all this data. Do you need another revision or like everything got refreshed in your mind?
No, it's fine.
Okay. So my question was, what do you know about the pedigree?
So pedigree is like lineage, right?
Hmm.
Descent.
Pedigree is like the lineage, or pedigree is like the family tree. Why do we need to make the pedigree? See, when we do the genetic experiments, when we do the genetical experiments, we are trying to we are trying to um, see the trend. But always remember that every experiment depends upon every experiment depends upon the sample size. Every experiment depends upon the sample size. The sample size basically is it means that the total number of offsprings produced. Total number of offsprings produced. When we do a cross between an A organism, a male A organism, and a female A organism, both these kinds of organism are going to produce the offsprings. Now, now, what is the number of offsprings? In your conclusion, it matters a lot because your experiment and your conclusion would only be reliable when you have a large number of offsprings, a very large number of offspring. Your conclusion would rely on that. So it clearly means that the, we need to have a lot of uh, offsprings. But when it comes to when it comes to plants and when it comes to lower organisms like the insects, they produce many organisms. They produce many offsprings. And this many offspring concept is very helpful for the scientists a to draw a conclusion. But what happened when the scientists came to the higher animals, they suddenly got disturbed. Why? Because no matter how many times they are going to reproduce, not enough number of offsprings are being produced to conclude, to reach to a conclusion and to prove something. Let's talk about human. A human female, if she gets pregnant for all the years in her life, which is impossible, which is impossible. But let's say for all the years in her life, then the female often starts to produce children, can start producing children almost from the age of 13. This is not like this statement is not that much of a mischievous. Why? Because this is biologically correct. What is allowed in the law, that is separate. That when she should and when she can, two things are separate. The when she can it is a reality that the females can start producing children from the age of 12 or 13, right at the age when the menstrual cycle starts. That is when the female can start producing a child. Starting from the age of 12, let's suppose she can get her menstrual cycle for, let's say, uh, 50 years. 50 years of age, because after that the menstrual cycle stops. Let me increase it to 55 years. Suppose that that female produces one child each year. How many children are going to be there? 55 minus, let's say 55 minus 15, 30.
Yeah.
55
No,
minus 15,
55
40.
minus 15 is 40.
40. So 40 children she is going to produce if we consider this situation, which is almost impossible, and in my opinion it's immoral. But let's put that aside. Let's think of an extreme situation. 40. 40 is nothing with reference to the conclusion that we draw in genetics. Nothing, nothing. It's not even peanuts. So similarly, when we talk about lions, and then lions mostly have the total lifespan of 10 years or 12 years. Suppose each year a female a lioness gives birth to 3 cubs. Then if she has a lifespan of 12 years, then it means that she would start producing children almost at the age of 4. 4 minus 12 would be 8. 3 cubs each year, 8 into 3, 24. Nothing. So now, to see the trends, we need to include the relative relatives to know the trend, of in a family, to know the trend in the family. Now we'll be using the pedigrees for that. A pedigree is just like a monohybrid cross, not much different. Like you can even apply monohybrid rules on it. That's very quite simple. Just like the images like stuff disturbs the student. Let's say how. Um, let's say this is in every pedigree you would find something like this. You would find some things like this. Okay, so a circle, an unshaded circle, represents a female with normal phenotype. Then a square that is unshaded represents male with normal phenotype. A female that is shaded represents a circle that is shaded represents female with an abnormal phenotype. Now that abnormal does not always mean a disease. Let's say a female may has 6 fingers. So that is not a disease. And obviously a male with an abnormal phenotype. That is going to be, that is how we are going to see this. And if we are using, suppose if we are using the pedigree for monohybrid, yeah, one more thing. This line that is connecting a male and a female, this is called as a marriage line. And this is called as a children line. And all the boxes and circles which are connecting to this line are their children. Only those which are connecting to this line are their children. So that is the reality of a pedigree. We can use the pedigree for monohybrid as well as sex linkage. Suppose you use them A. Now you can guess that maybe this particular family would have 3:1 because it is monohybrid heterozygous. It is heterozygous monohybrid. So 3 normal, 1 showing recessive one. That is the that is what we often call as the cross of monohybrid. And we can also use it for sex linkage. Like this is a female, so I would write XR, X small r, and X capital R, Y. So I can again separate the gametes over here, and uh, I can like combine them together. So it is not very much difficult if we know the how to draw a sex linkage cross and a monohybrid cross. Is that clear?
Yes.
So now you'll be finding many questions related to the pedigree. Let me show you a complete worksheet based upon the pedigree. This one, I guess. Yeah. This is this. Yeah. In this, you can easily find this particular uh, these particular questions mostly are related to IGCSE. Some may be involved from the O levels as well. So the female king cheetah, male king cheetah, something is like abnormal feature, or mostly the shaded circle does not represent abnormal feature. The shaded actually refers to recessive feature. It may be a very beautiful feature, but it refers to the recessive feature. That is all. So you can do many questions in this particular worksheet following the same trend of genes as we often do, as we have done in the monohybrid and sex linkage. We can do the similar type of genes and like gamete separations in the pedigrees. Okay, next. Now, let me do one for you so you can do the rest of them. Let's say there's a question. Catalase is an enzyme that breaks down hydrogen peroxide inside cells. Red blood cells contain catalase. Okay, it breaks down hydrogen peroxide. Some dogs have inherited condition in which catalase is not produced. This condition is known as acatalasia, and it is caused by a mutation of a gene. Define the term gene and gene mutation. The gene would be defined as a segment of DNA containing a sequence of nucleotides that define the amino acid pattern in a protein, in proteins. That is the gene. What is gene mutation? Gene mutation is a sudden change in the nucleotide sequence of a gene, may lead to recessive protein. You may or may not write the last one. Okay, next. A geneticist was asked to investigate the inheritance of acatalasia in dogs. The normal allele is represented by B and the mutant allele is represented by B. The geneticists made the diagram to show the inheritance of acatalasia in a family of dogs. The shaded symbols indicate the dogs with acatalasia. Okay, now these two are showing a normal male dog and a normal female dog, yet one of their offsprings is showing the acatalasia. How is it possible that many of their offsprings are not showing the acatalasia, but one of them? They are having four, you can say, puppies. They are having four puppies, and only one of them is having the acatalasia. If I ask you to define the genotype of the parents, how would you do that?
Um,
Let's suppose that the allele that we use, the symbol is B. Obviously, B is the symbol. So how would you use that symbol? How would you use that symbol to define the genotype of the parents? First of all, okay, no. Let me give you hints. I'm not expecting you to do this because I was doing this. The very first thing that you should do in such a question is see the trend, see the ratio in the offspring. In the offspring. Do you find the 50-50 ratio of acatalasia? Is it 50-50?
uh,
This
no.
one, this one, this one, and this one. No. Good. Okay. Then is it 75-25? 75% are not having the acatalasia and 25 are having the catalasia. Is it like that?
In the whole thing, like so, and
No, no, no,
in
no, no,
all.
no, no, no. Just look at their children line. Just look at their children line for now. Their children line would only be the one which is attaching to which is connecting to them.
Okay, so six sevenths are without, so are normal. So like
Hold on, what
80,
you are saying?
86
Only
14.
only this one is their puppy. This one is the puppy. This one is their puppy, and this one is their puppy. Sorry, this one is not.
Oh, oh yeah, okay. So
Always see very
one,
carefully
two,
which
three.
ones are connecting to the couple.
So 25% have and 75 don't.
Yes. So it means that we can say the ratio being shown is 3:1.
Yes.
Okay. Have we done any crosses before this that are showing 3:1?
What do you mean before?
Like, in the previous classes, have we been doing such crosses which were showing 3:1 ratio?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, yes, we have been doing. What was the genotype of the parents in that case? Do you remember? I told you that 100% of time the 3:1 would only appear when the parent's genotype is this. I guess yesterday I told you.
I don't remember the genotype.
Genotype is a combination of alleles,
No, I don't remember
uppercase
the
letter.
genotype. Like, I don't remember the genotype that we discussed.
Okay. What do you not remember about the genotype? It's their definition,
No, the specific genotype you're talking about.
the specific genotype. Okay. Can you just tell me the symbols that you expect with the 3:1 ratio?
Um, so that would be uh, genotype.
Of the parents.
So two heterozygotes
I'm not talking about the offsprings. I'm talking about the parents.
So one, no, I'm not sure.
Okay.
It should
Always
be
remember.
capital BB, but I've got the
Do you remember the rule that each offspring get one allele? Each offspring gets one allele from parents. And every offspring would be containing two alleles, and those two alleles, one each of them would be coming from each parent. Remember?
yeah.
Okay. Now I would like you to know that whenever you see 3:1, always remember both parents would be heterozygous. Would be heterozygous. It is obvious. Both parents would be heterozygous if you see 3:1. But now we also have another information that if it is the dominant ones, what are the expected genotype of dominant ones? The expected genotype of dominant ones are these. If we use these symbols, the expected genotypes of the dominant ones are these: capital B, and capital B, small b. And the genotype for recessive one is obviously this. So which one of them would have homozygous recessive genotype? Now I am talking about the offsprings. Which one of the offspring is going to have a homozygous recessive genotype?
Recessive. So recessive should be number 2.
Number two, exactly. So that exactly means one this puppy is getting one allele from one parent and the other allele from other parent. Do you agree with this?
Yeah.
Okay. The others are dominant. Okay, no focus. The parents, although are having a recessive allele, the parents, although are having a recessive allele, still they are showing a dominant phenotype. Don't you think?
Yes.
So what other allele would you like to allot them?
The one with the both dominant and recessive. Because there's a thin chance, right? No. That's
We have
still
allotted
3 to
one
1.
allele to both of them. We have allotted one allele to both of the parents. What other allele would you think, do you think that should be written here? Both are showing dominant phenotype.
Dominant. I don't know what you mean, like
I said,
both.
okay, let's come from the previous concept. This is showing a recessive phenotype.
Yeah.
So obviously its genotype should be homozygous recessive, right?
Yeah.
So if its genotype should be homozygous recessive, then one allele this puppy is getting from one parent and the other allele this puppy is getting from other parent, right?
Yeah.
Now let me change the question. Can any of this parent have another recessive allele? Because they obviously have to have two alleles. Every organism has to have two alleles for each character. So they have to have two alleles. My question is,
So
what
one of them can have a recessive and one can have a dominant.
one of them can have recessive and one have dominant? You are saying this. But if you focus on the cross BB and small b, if you cross it, you eventually would get a 50% result.
So then both of them should have recessive.
Both of them should have recessive. Okay, let's change it. If both of them should have recessive, there the result would be 100% recessive character.
But we should be
Because no,
getting 25%.
yes, we should be getting 25%. So what do you think should be
So
written?
both should have dominant one.
Yes, it was not this much hard. You know why? Just look at their phenotypes. Are they showing the recessive phenotype?
Which one? There's only one with a recessive one.
I'm talking about the parents. I'm talking only about the parents. Are the parents showing the recessive phenotype?
No.
No. So it means even if they have one recessive allele, they cannot have other recessive allele. Why? Because you need to justify their phenotype. You need to justify their phenotype. In that case, they may have one recessive allele, but the other allele can never be recessive. Is that understood?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's see. Are you clear about it?
Yes, clear.
Okay. Now, what do you expect? All right, let's see. State the genotypes of the dog identified as 1, 2, and 3. So what do you think? First of all, let's remove all of it. Let's not go to the question. Let's do the pedigree our way, and then we'll get back to the question. Okay, let's see. Um, these circled ones are their children, right? The one that I circled are their children, right? They're puppies. You have any doubt about it?
No.
Now, if I ask you to tell me that what are the genotypes of this puppy, I have told you the genotype of this puppy already. It is quite obvious because it is showing a recessive phenotype. It means it is going to have homozygous recessive. So I am putting arrows here. I would like you to tell me the genotypes of these puppies.
So
Not confirm. Statistically, like what is the probability? I'm not saying confirm.
so they could either have two dominant or half half.
Name the genotype.
Um, those two dominant.
No, no, no. Name the genotype. What is the name of the genotype?
So heterozygous.
They can have heterozygous genotypes. And what other genotype they can have?
The name.
Homozygous dominant. In the case of homozygous dominant, you get both alleles dominant. So your answer was right, but I was trying to make you say the real name of the genotype. Your answer was right that they can have both dominant and they can have one dominant and one recessive. So the answer was right. Answer was right, but the name of the genotype should be said here. Got it? So they can have homozygous dominant genotype or heterozygous genotype. let's say I mention here that this one is having, okay, now, uh, can I, now we are moving to the next level. This one, suppose this is P generation, which refers to parental generation. This is F1, which refers to first generation, and F2 refers to second generation. Now we are moving to the second generation, which is being produced by the parents of F1. Okay. Now if I ask you, tell me, tell me the genotypes of these parents. What the only these, the boxed ones.
Um,
Very easy. The rule is going to be the same.
the boxed ones, like the square ones, right?
The square and circle obviously mentioning one male dog and one female dog. So they are mating. So now you are supposed to be telling me the genotype of one and its partner.
I'm confused.
Okay, the genotype of one and its partner. Now, what would you see? Because the genotypes are not written, you would follow their offsprings. What is the dominant to recessive phenotype ratio in the offsprings? I'm still referring to the offsprings of one and its partner, one of which is 4. You got it?
Mm, I
Hold
don't
on,
know
hold on,
the
hold on.
genotype for.
The genotype is defining the alphabets. What alphabetical combination of alleles? Defining the alphabets. Like, what alphabetical combination do you expect them to have? One of three. One of three they should have. So these are the parents and these are the offsprings. Now you see the trend that they have two puppies. One of them is showing the dominant phenotype and the other one is showing the recessive phenotype. Now what can you conclude? What is the phenotypical ratio here?
It's 50-50.
50-50. Why 50-50? They have only two puppies. One of them is showing a dominant phenotype, the other one is showing a recessive phenotype. So that is 50-50. All right. Okay. Now, since they are showing the 50-50, okay, what was my original question? My original question was, describe me the genotype of the parents. Now, One of the offspring is showing the recessive phenotype,
So
and
it
one of
should
them is
be
showing the dominant.
homozygous dominant, and what do you
Okay,
call
let's say
the, I forgot how you call the one with one dominant and one recessive.
heterozygous.
So heterozygous dominant.
Okay, one should have heterozygous dominant and one should have homozygous dominant,
Yeah.
right? So let's try it. Capital B into, or no, I'm sorry, homozygous dominant into heterozygous. Their type of gamete would be single, so I'll write it only once. It is There are two types of gametes. So the expected types of offsprings is this. Do you see any recessive any phenotype? I'm sorry. Do you see any genotype here that would be showing the recessive phenotype?
Sorry.
Do you see any genotype in this result that would be showing a recessive phenotype?
To be 50-50.
How? How it would be 50-50? Look closely. Is it possible from these two types of organisms that they would be showing a recessive phenotype? Acatalasia would be appearing in them, which is a recessive feature. Is it possible from either of them? Acatalasia can only be possible if a puppy is having the homozygous recessive genotype.
Yeah.
So, in the fresh cross that we made, according to your opinion, do you think that any of them would be showing acatalasia?
Yeah, there will be with
They
that.
will be.
Yeah.
Which one of them?
At least one of them will have acatasia.
You are very much confused right now. Okay, hold on. Let me reopen it. Okay. Remember, the normal allele is represented by B. B means if a single B is followed in the genotype, it means it would be normal. And B, it means it would be showing acatalasia only in the case when both of them are combined. Both of them are combined. Now, they did the cross between a normal male and a normal female, and they suddenly noticed that in the children, in the puppies of them, 1, 2, and 3, three of them were normal, and one from them was recessive, was showing a recessive phenotype. Now we don't know how, sorry, what is the genotype of the parents? What is the allelic combination of the parents or the genotype of the parents? So we use the recessive organism, which definitely is going to show the genotype, which is definitely possessing the genotype of homozygous recessive. Why? Because if it wasn't homozygous recessive, it wouldn't have been showing acatalasia. It wouldn't have been showing the acatalasia. So it means that it has to be homozygous recessive to show the acatalasia. You getting it?
Yeah.
Now, I would allot small b to both the parents because this is getting the each of their allele from each of their parent, each of its parent. Now, the thing is that parents are showing normal phenotype, and normal could only be possible if you have a dominant allele there. So this is the result of our you can say conclusion that their parents are heterozygous. Their parents are heterozygous. Let's test it. Heterozygous, heterozygous. Let's make the gametes. When we made the gametes are of two types, so we will be writing alphabets differently, separately. Now, B, small b, B, small b. If this one fertilizes this, then the next, then the next, and then the last one. If we see them closely, we are clearly having the phenotypic combination of 3:1 because this one would be normal. This one would be normal. This one would be normal. This is recessive. Similarly, three are normal. One is recessive. So it means we concluded this correctly. This was correct. This is the parental generation, and our estimate is correct. So, okay, fine. You got this?
Yeah.
Okay, next. Next is let's try finding out the genotypes of the children of children's. Like this is the F1 and this is the F2. In the F1 and F2, in the F1 and F2, we can see that this particular pair is mating and producing two children, two puppies. One is showing a dominant phenotype and other one is showing a recessive phenotype. Definitely, if it is showing, what is the meaning of recessive phenotype? Acatalasia. So it means it is showing acatalasia, and acatalasia is only possible when the genotype is homozygous recessive. So it means 100% its genotype is small b, small b. 100% homozygous recessive. There can never be any other genotype. Got it?
Yeah.
Why it cannot have any other genotype? Can you answer this question? Why it cannot have any other genotype?
Um, any other genotype would mean that it would be normal rather than have acatalasia.
Yes. If it would have a single dominant allele, it wouldn't be showing acatalasia. So it means that this one is having homozygous recessive. The same rule again would be used. One is coming from this parent and one is coming from this parent. But if we look to the other, in this particular group, we are finding 1:1 or 50-50. If we are finding 1:1 or 50-50, it means that um, there could be some like what could be the possibility here? One has to show a normal phenotype. One has to show, okay, so both are dominant. Both are dominant. All right. So what should be the phenotype? What should be the genotype of their parents? The problem is if we say that case one, if we say that one parent is capital B is homozygous dominant, and other parent we cannot give the other parent recessive allele. Why we cannot give the other parent a recessive allele?
Because then the both offspring would have acatalasia.
Or you can say that the that try to read the symbols as well. Is the symbol telling us that the parents having acatalasia or not? Are the symbols telling us?
What do you mean the
No,
are the
I
symbols telling us?
see. Follow this key. What is this key saying? That if you have an unshaded box, the male or the female would be normal. It means that if you get back to this pair, both are normal. Both parents are normal. Just by looking at the symbol, we can identify that both are normal. Okay. Did you understand that now?
Yeah.
It means we cannot give them homozygous recessive genotype. We cannot give them homozygous recessive genotype. The only reason because they are showing the normal feature, and the homozygous recessive would only be possible when the box is gray or circle is gray or the shaded. So it means we cannot give them homozygous recessive. So what should be their genotype that that should be that should make them able to have a puppy with acatalasia? Okay. So can you now think about it?
So if they so what genotype do they need to get an
Mm.
offspring with acatalasia?
And an offspring with normal phenotype.
So the four one, right? The fourth one, if they were to have an offspring.
Yes, 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 yes. If they, if the parents are, to be clear, the parents are these. These are the parents now. One and its partner. These are the offsprings. Four and this gray one. These are the offsprings.
So they would have to have homozygous dominant. Four would have to have.
Both would have to have homozygous dominant. If
No,
both have,
because
mhm.
one already has a recessive. You're talking about four, right?
Okay, okay, hang on. I am right now trying to figure out the genotype of the parents, not the four and this, because these are offsprings.
Also, one would be homozygous recessive. So both of them are recessive, and then number one would have dominant homozygous. So it would have one dominant and one recessive,
That would be heterozygous. So you are saying number one has heterozygous, and this
and
one
homozygous. So recessive,
homozygous dominant.
recessive.
Okay. If it would have homozygous recessive, then can you justify the symbol? Because symbol says it is normal.
Hmm.
And if you put homozygous recessive there,
Then both
it
of
would,
them would have one dominant, one recessive.
yes, 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 yes. The only problem that is coming right now is the communication that I'm talking about which part and you are looking at which part. That is why I'm constantly saying that these are the parents, so I'm talking about these. Because once I started talking about these parents, we were done with it. Now we are trying to figure out their genotypes. And when we are trying to figure out their genotypes, we need to follow the trend. The trend says one of their puppies have homozygous recessive. So each of the parent 100% would have one recessive allele, but they cannot have other allele recessive because they both are normal. If they both are normal, definitely it means that they must have a dominant allele. It was this simple. If both are normal, let's write out the rule. If both are normal, parents are normal, while if both parents are normal, while the while offspring, while one offspring may have one or two, one or two may have a recessive phenotype. The parents can never have the parents can never have any homozygous genotype. They cannot have homozygous dominant or they cannot have homozygous recessive, because you have to show that one of them is homozygous recessive, one of their offsprings. So okay, it means that this one, okay, this one we have defined. What kind of what genotype it can have? It is quite simple. We can give it a genotype. Like it could be capital B, and capital B, small b, homozygous dominant or heterozygous. Why? It doesn't matter, because we don't know its offsprings. We don't know its offsprings. So basically, it doesn't matter. Let's come to the next one. Next pair. Now, please be focused that I'm talking about these. These are the parents to these. These are parents to these. Okay. Now, why am I saying that both of these are offsprings? These are offsprings, remember. These are their offsprings because their children line is matching with their marriage line. Understandable?
Yeah. So 3 would be uh I think the problem I'm having is can you like go back to the part where it was talking about homozygous and heterozygous and how to
I was about
identify it?
I was about to say the same thing. Homozygous dominant, meaning, for example, AA. Homozygous recessive, for example, small a. Heterozygous, capital A, small a. This is how you identify them.
So what about
As
when you
example,
say heterozygous? You can't say heterozygous dominant, right? That doesn't make sense.
you can. It doesn't matter. If
Okay.
you say heterozygous dominant, there is obvious that one of them is dominant. If you do not put dominant with heterozygous, it would work. But
Okay.
you can say heterozygous dominant. It doesn't matter.
So three would be heterozygous.
Well done. Well done. And
Five
two,
two is already
yeah. Oh, we have written that.
homozygous
Okay.
recessive.
Mm,
So
recessive. Good.
five should be homozygous recessive
Okay. What made you say
because of its the color.
yes? Yes. Yes. You are almost there. You are almost there. If, like, in what condition? Suppose if I say, if I shade this one, would the result be same?
No, but then both of them would be homozygous recessive. So then
Yes.
both offspring would be recessive as well.
Yes. 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 That's the point. So basically, this was the thing I was trying to make you understand about the pedigree. And this is how it moves. Okay, they have only one puppy, one offspring. So what do you expect from them? Maybe they both have homozygous dominant. Like, since you don't know the further pedigree. You don't know the further pedigree, so you can be careless about it. All right, that's good, but it consumed a lot of time from us. Anyways, I guess now you can do the pedigrees very easily because it's going to be very easy understanding now that how are we going to basically draw the crosses and how are we going to understand. So I'll be sending this worksheet to you. Now our inheritance topic is finished. I was thinking moving to the variation and selection, but right now, mm, yes, I am about to move to the variation selection, but I would only teach you in the next class. I'll start today the variation topic. Then we will jump to the last chapter, that is biotechnology. Oops. Yeah, this one, biotechnology. We will directly jump to this topic, biotechnology and genetic modification. Then we'll get back and go to the adaptive features and selection, and then organism and their environment. Remember, did you study the geography in this in the session? In
Like
this,
GCSE geography.
yeah.
I did it until like year 9, so I didn't do it for GCSE.
Okay, okay. All right, fine. Because there is much data in the organism and in their environment chapter that is relevant to the geography. Anyways, we can discuss about that later. Now, talking about the variation. Okay, I'm expecting you to be very much like quick but careful while doing the worksheets. Remember that these worksheets, these are the guarantee that you have understood this chapter. Got it? Like it's very important for you to complete the worksheets so that you can practice as well as I can get satisfied that you have got the idea, because most of the crosses till now I have done in the classes, and obviously I have been sending you the worksheets, but I haven't got any one of them back, and I'm about to send more today. So that is why I need you to focus on the worksheets and try to identify the things. And you can send at any time you can send the message on WhatsApp. You can ask me, "Sir, what is happening here?" So, like, why am I not able to do this one? Why am I not able to figure out this particular topic, this particular cross? I need you to figure out all of them. Got it?
Yeah,
Variation means variety of variety in a character, or maybe variety in a phenotype. Oh, sorry, variety in a character or trait. Since we have already talked about that, like, what's the difference between the two things? When we talk about the character, we already have established a point that character has two phenotypes. One is dominant and the other is recessive. And what is the meaning of variation in the characters? Basically, this terminology refers to the variation among the among the individuals of same species, same species, or you can say individuals of a population. Whenever you would see this word, the variation, basically, most of the time, it would refer to the population, a large group of offsprings. A large group of offsprings is actually um, going to tell us that what character is showing how many variations. Let me make it clear. What character is showing how many variations? See, let's talk about variations. Let's talk about a person X. You start studying the genetics in person X, and the person X's blood group is A, A blood group. If you only study the person X for genetics, would you be able to know that there are other blood groups?
No, because you would only have one blood group.
Yes. Similarly, it means that when we discuss the population would tell us that what is the extent of variation in a character. How much variable features, how much variable phenotypes are there? That is why the variation is important to study the variation. Variation is defined as the variety in the features of variety in the phenotypes or the variety in the features of the individuals of a population. That is called as the variation. Now, when it comes to the variation in a population, we see strange things. We see strange things. Some characters, some characters have only limited variations, have only limited variations, no matter how much individuals, how many individuals are there. Individuals are there. There could be 100 to 100,000 or more. But the variety in that character is limited. Suppose blood group. Again, how many varieties do you can you find? Four only,
Isn't it
right?
A O A B?
A, B, A, B, O. Okay, let's add the positive and negative into it. A positive, A negative, B positive, B negative, O positive, O negative, A B positive, A B negative, but not more than that. It means the blood group has limited variety that it shows. You can say a small range of varieties in a single varieties in a single character. These characters, these characters basically represent a type of variation that is called as discontinuous variation. Discontinuous variation. Discontinuous variation is defined as a type of variation when you have, be very careful while reading the statement, a type of variation when we have limited, mostly qualitative, mostly qualitative varieties between dominant phenotype and recessive phenotype. And recessive phenotype. Let's suppose in blood group, the most dominant phenotype is A, then B, then AB, then O. This is the sequence we often make to show that which one is more dominant. The A is the dominant variety and O is the recessive variety. So, but you don't see any more variations here. When you have one range, and by the range I mean dominant and recessive. When you have one extreme as dominant and the other extreme as recessive, and you have limited number of varieties between them, you would say that this character is showing discontinuous variation. This character is showing discontinuous variation. Variation. Now you can assume the other type. I'll be continuing it tomorrow. The continuous variation is the other type in which you would have lots and lots of variations between two extremes. What are the two extremes? What are the two extreme phenotypes?
The extreme ones.
The two extremes mean, okay, let me show it here. The two extreme phenotypes means the dominant phenotype and the recessive phenotype. These are the two extreme phenotypes. And when you have limited variety between them, that would be called as a discontinuously varying character. But when you have a lots of variety between the two extremes, you would say that this character is continuously varying character. I'm not writing it right now because maybe I would be discussing it tomorrow again. And the example is height. Just do one practice. At your home, divide the heights. The dominant extreme is 6 feet. Recessive extreme is 4 feet. But don't keep it at 4. 4.0 is different phenotype. 4.1 is different phenotype. 4.2 is different phenotype. It means that the most recessive phenotype is 4 feet and the most dominant phenotype is the 6 feet. And all of them, both of them are having a lots of phenotypes between them. That is the that is what we call as the continuous variation. The continuous variation simply means that a character showing a lots of variety between two extremes. Understood?
Yeah.
So we'll be discussing it about this tomorrow.